I have not done it. I have not done it yet, but you guys, I am $200 away. I don't even need to get better every single month. Why don't I get better year over year instead of month over month? Putting these crazy pressures on yourself, it doesn't help. Okay, you guys, goal number 3 is my favorite goal, and it is something that I don't want to be dramatic, but I really feel like it's changed my life. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe we are here. This is going to be the first video in my end of year / New Year's goal setting and reflecting series. I feel like it's only fitting that we start with my financial goals, and I'm so excited to get into this video. I seriously have the best memories of setting my financial goals every single year. I've been doing this for, I wanna say, I think it's been 3 or 4 years consistently in a row, and that's not to say that every year I achieve my goals consistently in a row. Every year there's some goals that I achieve and many goals that I don't achieve or forget about. But there's something to me that is just so exciting and motivating about setting financial goals. And to be completely honest with you guys, I actually have more fun setting financial goals than setting like personal goals. I think it's something about the numbers, making it a bit more concrete. I don't know, I just love it. It makes me feel like I'm taking control of my life, taking control of my finances. It just feels so good. That being said, I do feel like before we can really set goals and think about the new year, think about 2024, we need to look back and be grateful and proud of ourselves for everything that we accomplished in 2023. So today in this video, we are going to be looking back at all of the goals that I set back in January of last year, or well, this year, but a year ago, I set these goals. So together we're gonna reflect on 2023, and then later on in a new video, we will set my financial goals for 2024. I would love for you guys to let me know in the comments what one of your goals was for 2023. You can also let me know whether or not you achieved it. So I have my journal here, and I am going to just be kind of blind reacting to all of the goals that I've set. I have not yet looked at them. I haven't reviewed them in a little while. There are definitely some goals that are very, very top of mind for me. And once again, I'm sure there are some in here that I've completely forgot about. Before we get into all of the goals, I wanna say a huge thank you to The Line for sponsoring this video. So let's head over to my desk, and I'm gonna show you guys the tools that were integral in my success this year. I definitely owe a lot of my newfound confidence and success with budgeting to these tools from The Line. You guys have seen my progression with them, and it's such a dream that now my videos are sponsored by The Line, but this started out as me just trying out their products, not knowing what was up, not really knowing what cash envelopes were, and these products have completely changed my life. It all started in October 2022 with the cash envelopes. Raisa, the founder of The Line, she said, you know what, Zoey, I think you would really love these. Let me send you over a starter kit just to try. I tried them out and I've never looked back. It's been over a year now of doing cash envelopes every single month. Budgeting used to be something that would make me cry. I would sit down to do my monthly budget and I would cry. I had no control over my spending. I didn't know where my money was going until I finally sat down at the end of the month to look at my credit card statement. Cash envelopes was the first way I finally got control over my spending. Then came along the budget tracker, and at first this really scared me. I remember Raisa sending me over this, suggesting that I try it, and I looked at it and I was like, oh no, this is too much. This is too complicated just from looking at this dashboard. The crazy part, you guys, is this dashboard is all auto-generated. So I was scared for nothing. Once I took a real walkthrough of the budget tracker and got to see how it works, it's so incredibly simple. I can't believe it, but at the end of December, it will mark 1 whole year of me using this budget tracker. The best part is that next year, I don't need to buy another one. I just make a copy and start fresh. This budget tracker is such an inexpensive way to get a kickstart on your finances, start tracking your spending, seeing where it's going, setting a budget. It's simply amazing. I wanna show you guys a quick walkthrough of the budget tracker just so you can see how simple it is. So what we are looking at right now is the annual summary. This is a copy, so these aren't my exact numbers, but once you've gotten a couple of months all the way up to a year filled in with this budget tracker, you will be able to see where your money is going, what money is coming in, how does your income relate to your expenses. It's all really, really valuable information. The way it works is that you first come into this tab called expense categories. You list out all of the categories that you personally like to spend in. So mine looks like groceries, dining out, Maggie, coffee, treat yourself, skiing, stuff like that. From there, you move over into this expense log and you input the date. So let's say we bought something in 2023. Let's say we bought something on the 1st of January. Maybe it's January 1st and we had to go buy a coffee because we went out last night. Okay, so we bought a coffee and it was $7. Once you input that into this expense log, it will automatically populate over in your January tab. So we can see here, coffee. I had set a budget of $50. I spent $10. In my personal budget tracker, I added a column to do the remaining so that I could see with my cash envelopes how much I have left in each envelope without actually having to like go in and count the cash each time. Every single month, you also have the space to put in your earnings as well as your bill payments. So everything is super, super comprehensive. Everything on the screen that you see in green means that it is auto-populated. So the line has already filled this template up with all of the formulas, all of the calculations that you need. So you're really only entering very, very basic numbers, and all of the more complicated work is done for you. These tools have been such an amazing part of my 2023. I genuinely think they contributed to a lot of my peace of mind and a lot of my success with budgeting this past year. So if you guys want to get a jump start on your budgeting for 2024, or if you've got that friend that you want to help out, get them a practical but also fun Christmas gift, I highly recommend these products from the line. I will have everything linked down below, and as always, you can use my discount code Zoey10 to save 10% off your purchase. Thank you so much to The Line for sponsoring this video. It really means the world to me to be working with such an amazing brand that has seriously made such a great impact in my life. I love you guys so much. All right, now let's get into my 2023 goal reflections. Ooh. Okay, we are gonna open up the journal. It's so fun that I started this journal right at the beginning of 2023. Look, right here, this is my tracker. It says that I split them into personal, fitness, career, and financial. And here's what I wrote. Let 2023 be the year of achieving my goals and truly making myself happy. Finally getting fit, getting ahead financially, taking care of myself, and making myself proud. Well, apparently I was obsessed with fitness last January, but I do have to say, I haven't looked at this page probably since the day I wrote it, but I did really make myself proud this year, and that's a wonderful feeling. Okay, let's find my personal finance goals. All right, go Zoey, here we go. I made a whole tracker for some of my goals in here. A big goal was to become debt-free, 10K emergency fund, RSP contributions, and my earnings. But what I really want to look at here, so on this page, you guys can see this is where I listed all of my 2023 financial goals. There are 9 of them. So this is what we will be reviewing today. I have a pen here and I'm actually kind of mad at myself. There are some of these goals where I put down dates where I'm like, okay, put down the date that you achieved it, and I just didn't. Come on, Zoey. All right, my first money goal for 2023 was to complete a full year of cash envelopes. Yes, this I did it. I started cash envelopes on October 1st of 2022. So on October 1st of 2023, that meant a full year of cash envelopes. Now, that doesn't mean I did a perfect year of always sticking to my budget, never spending over. No, no, no. It just means that every single month for a year, I set a cash budget and I did my best to stick to it, which I did. You guys saw me talk about it in the clip about The Line, but I really, really love my cash envelopes. They were such a game changer for me, and I honestly think they're just gonna be like my first love when it comes to budgeting. I love them so much, and I really wanna go another year strong of cash envelopes. Goal number 2 was to actively undo lifestyle creep and save the difference. Okay. Yes and no here. So when I set this goal in January of last year, I knew that I was probably going to be moving in with JS. We had kind of started the conversations about it, and I was in a place where I would feel really guilty about a lot of things that I would spend on. So for example, I have a car. I would feel guilty about my car. I would feel guilty about the fact that I had an indoor parking spot for my car. I've been in this mode for a long time of like making a decision and then kind of going back on my decision and feeling guilty. So being like, well, why'd you buy that? You didn't need to do that. You don't need an indoor parking space. Like, it's such a waste. It's so much money. It's something that I do quite often, honestly, which is only look at the numbers and not look at the value that it brings me, the joy that it brings me, the convenience that it brings me. So when I wrote down this goal, I was really specifically referring to my parking spot. I was thinking that I should just get rid of it, park on the street, it's no big deal. Well, I did not do that, and I'm really glad I didn't. My plan was to move in with JS, not get an indoor parking spot in this new building, park on the street, and then be like, yay, I'm undoing my lifestyle creep. But a few things happened that made me change my mind from that decision. One is that I left my car parked on the street in this neighborhood near like my new current home, and my car got trashed. It got trashed by a snow removal truck. It got like totally scraped. Some of you guys know the story. It took me many months. I finally got it fixed in the summer, but I feel like that was my big sign from the universe of like, don't park on the street. Like, it's so much safer in the garage. Shortly after that, we started getting so many snowstorms in Montreal where you walk outside and people are digging their car out of these snow piles. Also in Montreal, because of how much snow we get, there are parking restrictions many days of the week. So they'll be plowing the streets. You're not allowed to park on that street. Everyone else isn't allowed to park on that street. So there's no parking in the whole area. I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, I really don't. Those were the two kind of biggest factors. The biggest being that my car was literally vandalized on the street, and I had to become Inspector Gadget and like find the camera footage myself, contact the police. It was horrible. It's also the second time on the streets of Montreal that my car gets vandalized. Another time a year prior, someone threw a rock at my windshield while it was parked on the street. So I think I've had enough negative experiences to warrant just parking in the garage. However, the other thing that I'm so glad I kind of came to my senses about is I have a car. Cars are expensive. Cars are a luxury, especially in a city like Montreal. You really don't need one. Personally, I feel like I need one. Not for so much my day-to-day errands. I walk a lot. I also still utilize public transit. But because I have a dog, because my parents live in another city, I need my car to put my dog in the car, put myself in the car, put my suitcase in the car, and go visit my parents in Ottawa. I also started skiing, and all of these things just require a car. Now, like I said, the car is a convenience and the car is a luxury. So I'm not gonna park my convenient luxury, not that my car is a luxury car, but you know, it's a luxury to have a car. I'm not gonna park it on the street far away so that when it's time to go skiing, I have to like carry all my skis down the block to the car, carry my suitcase. Like, I'm not going to undo the convenience of having a car by needing to park super far away. I feel like some people who don't live in Montreal are not going to understand this because, for example, I went and visited my friend Gracie in Arizona, and even back when she lived in Indiana, like in the United States, I think parking is a lot more of like a commodity. Like, it's everywhere. There's parking everywhere. You don't have to pay for it. It's outside. It's safe, whatever. Here you are literally parking on the street. Your car is parked this far apart from somebody else's car. The streets are very narrow. You could have to park, you know, 3 blocks away from your house because you're looking for parking. You don't have a designated spot. So it really, really is a pain in the butt. And that is my big rant about why I did not get rid of parking. Another area where I in fact inflated my lifestyle was I finally started getting my nails done again. I used to do my nails at home. I loved doing them at home, but it just got to the point where I like flipped a switch and I was like, I'm so sick of doing this. I was spending hours doing my nails at home, and at one point in my life it really did make sense, especially like during COVID and stuff. But this year specifically, a lot of my jobs kind of picked up. I was earning a little bit more money and I couldn't justify spending 3 hours on my nails. When you do the calculations, it actually just made more sense that I go get them done. So in terms of like routine things, I don't feel like I undid my lifestyle creep, but 2 areas where I think I did really, really well in terms of lowering my spending was going out for coffee. I used to do it so frequently, and going out to eat. I am a lot better in those 2 categories, and I'm really proud of that. I'm spending a lot of time on this goal, but I can't say that I actively undid my lifestyle creep, but what I can say is that I'm very, very aware of it. And as my income continues to grow, this lifestyle that I currently have, I think it's so comfortable. I think it's so great. And I really don't need to inflate it from here. I'm very good. So that's kind of where I'm at. And this goal, I would give it like a half check mark, kind of, if we're allowed to do that. Okay, you guys, goal number 3 is my favorite goal, and it is something that I don't want to be dramatic, but I really feel like it's changed my life, and I am a different person because of it, and I'm way happier. I sleep better at night because of it. I'm sure you guys can guess, but that is becoming debt-free. So I had 2 sources of debt within 2023, which was my line of credit, and then I had my car loan. I cannot remember when I paid off my line of credit, but I did make a full video in the month of October of paying off my car loan, and ever since paying it off, it's truly a weight off of my shoulders. I can't tell you guys how good it feels to fully be debt-free once again. It also undoes a lot of that guilt that I was feeling of having a car and parking my car inside. I'm like, it's all paid for now. My only expenses related to my car are the gas that I put in it, the indoor parking, and then, knock on wood, any repairs, tire changes, stuff like that that do inevitably come up. But it just gives me such peace of mind knowing that my car is paid off. It's like the best feeling. I hope to have this car for as long as it runs safely. It's just, I'm so happy. It's a wonderful feeling. So take that, you guys, take this positive energy. And if you have debt, just know that it's okay. I really don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. I think you can channel all of your energy into paying it off, and you will feel so good when you do. So yes, goal number 3, which was to become debt-free, gets a big green check mark. Oh, goal number 4, of course, we can't have our highs without this isn't really a low though, I'm just being dramatic, but goal number 4 was to finally fill up my $10,000 emergency fund. And my goal was to do so before the end of 2023. I have not done it. I have not done it yet, but you guys, I am $200 away. I'm $200 away from accomplishing this goal. I'm gonna get it before New Year's. I'm gonna make a video. We're gonna celebrate just like I did when I paid off my debt. I wanna do that when I finally fill this emergency fund. And this is another goal that just means so much to me because it's something that I have been chasing for such a long time. I got to a point where my emergency fund was getting there. It was getting there. This was back when I was working corporate, and then you guys know the story, I was laid off, and that whole year after being laid off was very tough for me financially. My income was zigzagging all over the place, and there were many months where I had to take from my emergency fund because I couldn't really make ends meet otherwise. I couldn't pay my rent. I couldn't pay for this lifestyle that I had because I had created my lifestyle with a certain salary. So I was taking from my savings and draining my emergency fund. You know, I never drained it all the way to zero, but taking from it was sucky. It was painful, but at the same time, that's what it's there for. So this whole past year of 2023, having been able to contribute to it and watch it grow rather than last year watching it shrink has just been such a amazing feeling, and one that I feel so proud of myself for. I know once I see that account at $10,000, it's gonna feel so good. The trouble is that I know I'm never gonna wanna spend it. And like, you know, if an emergency does come up, I'm gonna be so upset that it like goes below 10, even though that's what it's for. So we're gonna give this one a green check because from now to the next like 2 weeks, let's say, it's gonna get done. I just know it, but it's not quite done yet. Anyways, that is one that means a lot to me. So exciting. Okay, goal number 5 was to create a $1,000 vacation sinking fund. So this one we're gonna alternate, we're gonna give it a half check mark because the thing with sinking funds is you're gonna have times when it's full, great job, and you're gonna have times when you take from it and you're in that period of building it back up. I'm currently in that period of building it back up because in November, I did go on a trip. I didn't spend my entire vacation sinking fund because I had actually built it up to about $2,000, but I did take the remaining money and use it to put towards my Christmas budget. But having a $1,000 to $1,500 just sitting in the bank waiting for you to be able to say, yes, I wanna go on that trip is amazing. I did have it at multiple points throughout the year where that fund was filled and it felt really, really great. So this is definitely a goal I want to carry over into next year to probably give it a bigger kind of fund. Like maybe I think $2,000 would be perfect because that's like, I can say yes to any trip, well, I mean, within reason, but you can say yes to a lot when you have $2,000 at the ready. And then also making a plan as soon as you drain it, what is the plan to fill it back up? How quickly do you want to fill it back up? Because you're not going to fill it right when you drain it, right? So is it, you know, okay, 4 months later, 2 months later, I need to kind of figure out what that looks like. I think when we think about sinking funds, or at least when I think about sinking funds, I think of the end amount, but I don't necessarily always think of the repayment plan, which is a very important element of the sinking fund. But this one, we're gonna give it a half check mark. Number 6 was another sinking fund, and this one was for my girl, Maggie. This took me a long time to get there. It took me a long time to get there, and my goal amount was $500. I don't know if I have $500. Let's find out. I think this started in September where I was keeping my sinking fund for her in cash. I was like over budgeting every single month and then keeping the difference to grow a sinking fund in cash. So 2, 4, 6, 8, $100, 2, 4, 6, 8, $200, 2, 4, 6, 8, $300, and 30. So 330. So no, I did not create a $500 sinking fund for Maggie, but we are on track. I think what I'm going to do is actually take that 500 once I have it and kind of plop it onto my emergency fund, because my emergency fund is currently in a Wealth Simple cash account and it's actually earning pretty good interest. So I'll just add my Maggie sinking fund on top of that so that it can also, you know, help me out and generate some interest. I was gonna say income, generate some interest. The $500 Maggie sinking fund, I think, is one of those goals that I did kind of forget about from time to time. It was always like in the back of my head, but it was never my number one priority because I just knew that, God forbid, if anything did happen to Maggie, I would end up paying it kind of no matter what. So it was never like, oh, I've got to get this money put aside. It was like, I guess, one of my less time sensitive goals. I think had it been more at the front of my mind, I would have made more of an effort to really get to that $500 number. But I'm glad I'm reviewing this because now I get to see for next year, you know, is 500 the number? Maybe it should be more like 1,000. Obviously, we always want our pets to be like safe, and I'm looking at her right now and like the idea of anything happening makes me want to cry, but of course it's good to be prepared. Did you guys watch, if you guys watched my no spend challenge vlog, remember like the buzzer sound that I was putting? Should we put that for the goals I don't achieve? Number 7, lucky number 7 was to get and stay 1 month ahead. Yes-ish. I did have a harder time getting 1 month ahead this year. I think my income, once again, you know, as always, it fluctuates a lot, but this year I really was prioritizing my other savings. So I was putting money towards that emergency fund. I was prioritizing paying off my car loan. And as a result, my 1 month ahead, it always got filled up, but I always filled it up like right at the end of the month, which is kind of like besides the point. My goal with the 1 month ahead is like middle of the month to have my expenses for the following month in an account ready to go when it's time to send the e-transfer for rent and when it's time to go to the bank and take out my cash budget. My number for 1 month ahead is $1,875. $1,000 is for my cash budget and $875 is for my rent and parking. So that's the number that I always want to have on hand. You know, let's say 2 weeks after I pay my rent, I'd like to have that money back in an account. But it always depends on when I get paid, how much I get paid. So I don't always have super control over that. But that's something to be explored next year as well, is like, how can I make sure I always have more kind of cash on hand inside my bank accounts? You know, I have my emergency fund, but we don't really want to touch it. It's also with a different financial institution. So how can I make it so that I have more cash on hand in my checking account kind of thing, ready to go to pay the bills? Because it's not really a great feeling as like a new month is coming. You're like, okay, I've got to take out my budget. I've got to pay my rent, but you don't see that money in your bank account. You're like, ooh, how is this going to happen? And you get that paycheck to paycheck feeling. It's not the best feeling, and it's a feeling that I've worked very, very hard to overcome because I'm very familiar with that feeling. So it's just something that I need to keep working on. So it always happened, but I can't say that it happened like super confidently. So like, can't really say I achieved this goal. Goal number 8 was to get some of my savings, more specifically my investing, on auto deposit. So I wanted to put my RRSP, which is my retirement, on auto deposit, and I wanted to put my tax-free savings account on auto deposit. I did do it for my tax-free savings account. I now put $100 a month into that tax-free savings account. It's on auto deposit, which is really nice because it just comes out of my account. You don't have the time to even think about it. You don't even notice it, honestly. It just goes, which is nice. For my RSP, no, I haven't done it yet. I don't know if I'm ever really going to be able to though, because once again, I don't get paid. I don't have set paydays. So I can't say, okay, on the 14th of the month, go ahead and take that money out of my account, because there might be $1,000 in my account and there might be like 20. Like, I don't know, and it changes every month. So I don't know if for that reason, I may always be the type of person who just every month sends the money over to savings. But what's nice about the auto deposit is it really holds you accountable. So that's another one that I need to figure out. That being said, I did this year open an FHSA, which is a first-time homeowner savings account. If you live in Canada, if you've never bought a home, and there's certain other criteria, but you are eligible for this account. It's basically to help Canadians save up and kind of tax-free and encourage them to save up for a home. I opened one up this year. I put it on auto deposit. I did $200 a month, and I just recently learned that I'm actually not eligible for this account because I live with my partner and he owns his condo. He owns this condo that we live in. So I'm actually not eligible for that account, which sucks. That rule sucks. If anyone from the Canadian government is listening, that rule sucks because I've never bought a home. So I'm technically still a first-time homeowner. But anyways, this is not the space for my rant. So I'm gonna have to transfer the balance over to my RSP. And next year, I'm just really gonna focus on my RSP and we'll see about auto deposit or not. Goal number 9, my last goal, was related to my earnings. My goal was to consistently earn $5,000 a month or more before taxes. So not including like what I have to take off for taxes, but what touches my account, I wanted to earn $5,000 a month or more. I set that goal and I set that number because that was a number that made me feel confident. It made me feel like I could pay my rent, do my cash budget, treat myself a little bit, and still put money into savings. It was just a number that felt good for me. Of course, anything above that is wonderful, fantastic, amazing. Like, I tried to say all those words at once, but you know, of course, anything above that, I'm super thankful and appreciative and grateful for. And it's definitely, you know, wonderful if it happens. But I set the goal of 5,000, and What's interesting and what's funny about goal setting is when you start to accomplish a goal, it's very tempting to bump it up. So at the beginning of last year, I was consistently hitting those 5s, and suddenly I started feeling this pressure that I needed to hit $10,000 a month, or I needed to make 6 figures in a year. I think 6 figures comes out to about $8,000 a month. So I was like, oh, my 5 isn't enough, you know, like I need to up my goal. And then kind of like getting in this spiral. And it's so unnecessary to get into that spiral. And I've talked about this, but those bigger numbers come from comparison. It comes from me comparing myself to people I see on social media, to ex-classmates, blah, blah, blah. And it's just simply not necessary. Yes, I did experience those feelings of like wanting more, and I think it's human, and I think it also comes from being the type of person like, yes, I like to challenge myself, like what's my next goal, right? But something that I consistently try to remind myself of throughout the year, and I'm very proud of this, is it's okay to set a goal for the whole year and keep it that way for the whole year. I don't need to change my goal every single month. I don't even need to get better every single month. Why don't I get better year over year instead of month over month? Putting these crazy pressures on yourself, it doesn't help. It leads to disappointment. It leads to yourself feeling stressed and feeling burnt out. So every time I felt those like higher income pressures, I really came back to that 5 number, and I was like, this is the goal you set. Stick to this for the year. Anything over the 5 is something to be extremely grateful of and proud of, but really stick to that 5. And so the 5 was really my like anchor throughout the year, and just kind of was like, okay, that's my goal, that's my goal, that's my goal. Because if you're constantly changing your goal, you're just gonna be left disappointed, especially given what I do for work. I have months where it's more slow. I have months where it's busier. I had months this summer where I barely did any freelance copywriting. And it's like, yeah, if I increase my goal, well, I don't have the work coming in. It's just not realistic. So 5 was my anchor, and I feel so blessed to say that I hit this number every single month. There was one month I remember feeling, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like a sign of reassurance from the universe, because I think my earnings for that month was like $5,042. Like I was $42 over the 5 number. And I was like, I remember talking to JS and being disappointed, and I was like, oh, like I just hit my goal. Like I just barely went over it. And he was like, yeah, but you hit it. Like you hit it, so what does it matter how much or little it was over it? Like you hit your goal, be happy. That was just putting it into perspective of like, yeah, you just set that goal and you be happy. So next year I may change it, I may raise it a little bit, because you know, we all like to get our little annual raise. When I reached 3 months in a row of achieving my goal, like January, February, March, I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. And then when I hit 6 months, I was like, whoa, like, am I gonna do it? Like, am I gonna do it? Because like I said, the year prior, I was having to take from my savings quite frequently. Then it was like 6, 7, 8, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hit my goal. And now we're here in December. It's been 12 months of hitting that goal, and it's honestly amazing. I feel like in terms of hitting that goal, I have a lot to be thankful for and a lot to be proud of. I'm really thankful for the relationship that I've built with my copywriting client. It's been 2 years now of working together, and we just have such a great relationship. I'm very happy with them. I know that they're very happy with me, and that feels great. Some months I get more or less work than the other, but I think that's normal, and I think that's kind of the pill you have to swallow as a freelancer. That being said, I do have my video about copywriting filmed. I just need to edit it. I think it's gonna come early January, so keep an eye out for that. I know a lot of people are waiting on that video. Of course, the second thing I have to be so thankful for is all of the opportunities that I've gotten because of YouTube, the growth I've experienced on YouTube, this phenomenal community that we have, the support you guys give me, the love that I feel from you. It's amazing to be able to have sponsored videos like this video is sponsored. It's just a dream come true. You know, the ads that run on my videos, that you guys subscribe and that you comment. It's all so fantastic that this can be my job. It's a literal dream come true, and I really don't take it lightly. I'm really, really grateful for you guys. And then lastly, I feel very proud of myself because I really did work hard this year. I was consistent, and I think I think I can say 2023 is really the first year where I've really believed in myself because I loved what I do. I love copywriting. I love YouTube. I love teaching bar classes. This was the first year that I feel like I really had a lot of confidence in myself. It was the year where I really took my budgeting seriously, paying off my debt, like I said, watching my savings grow. It's just been fantastic. It's funny because it makes me feel like I have no idea what my 2024 goals are gonna be because I'm just like, how can we beat this year? Like what more can I ask for? And I think that's just such a nice feeling of like, it's really nice to look at your goals and just sit in being proud and not necessarily right away have to jump to next year. So I'm gonna sit with this feeling. I really wanna invite you guys to do your own reflection, whether that's with a friend over coffee or over FaceTime. Do it with your journal, you know, make a nice cup of tea, be cozy. Sit with yourself, sit with your accomplishments and your reflections. It's gonna feel so good and you deserve it. I'm sure you've done some wonderful things this year that you deserve to be so proud of. And from there, we can move forward and think about 2024. So with that being said, I wanna thank you guys so much for watching this video, the first in our New Year's series. Let me know if you have any requests, if there's anything you wanna see wrapping up 2023. Do you wanna see a video about like my personal and my career goals? Do you wanna do goal setting together? Like, let me know what you wanna see and I will do my best to film it. I think it's about time for me to stop talking now. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the line for sponsoring. I love you all. Bye.